Close eyes, cross eyes. Looking at an object far away, close eyes. Hi there. I would like to make a quick video about a topic that I find very interesting. That is that of rules. Rules. I rue the day that rules were ruled. Rules. I don't like rules. I don't think anybody really likes rules. I don't think anybody wakes up in the morning and says, gosh darn it, I love rules. Rules. It's what makes the world go round. What keeps everything stable. God, I love my rules. Rules in general. Nobody says that. Yet we have rules, and they serve their purpose. I think people generally are aware of that. Rule makers find it important to make rules because they often are in a position of responsibility over something, and people who do not take responsibility for that thing need to have some parameters around their behavior and actions so that the proper use of the thing is made, so something is properly used, sorry. So for instance, I'm in a library and I'm in a private meeting or study room, and I can, a rule of this study room is that I can only use a study room for a maximum of 2 hours every day. Another rule is that I can only use study rooms during the course of a week for a maximum of 6 hours. So if I used it for 6 days, I could use it for 1 hour per day. If I used it for 3 days, I could use it in a week. I could use it for 2 hours a day. Another rule, I would guess, would be I can't start screaming my lungs out. As you can see, there are people, perhaps you can see outside, is that a person? Yep, there's a person behind me, and if I were to start screaming my lungs out, that would cause a disturbance, and I think causing a disturbance would be breaking a rule. But I hate rules. I don't like rules in general. I don't like rules that I don't like to follow. Let's put it that way. I was in one of the trains, which is kind of the subway system of Chicago recently, and I was indulging in my addiction of choice, which is to eat often food that's not good for me, and in that case it wasn't good for me. I just worked a hard day at a place in which there are many rules. I felt stifled, I felt a lot of things, and I wanted to eat, so I didn't have to feel those things. So I did buy some food, and I decided to eat on the train, but you're not supposed to eat on the train. It is a rule that you do not, it is their policy and a rule that one does not eat. They do not put food into their mouth while on a train. Now you might ask, why is that a rule? I didn't at the time ask myself that, but at the time I thought because it is a rule, I should be following it. Of course, my own desire to eat trumped my desire to be a rule-abiding person, and so I did eat. But while I ate, I felt bad that I was breaking a rule. So that prevented me from enjoying it as much as I might have been able to. Of course, the fact that I was eating junk food also prevented me from enjoying the activity that I was engaging in. Because I often, anyway, that's another topic. But the topic, the point of this video, the thing that I'm coming to is that while I was eating, I was thinking about that rule that I'm not supposed to eat, and why am I eating? Why am I breaking this rule? And I thought about what would happen if someone came up to me and said, I'm talking about someone like that works for the CTA, the Chicago Transit Authority, which is the company or the group that runs the Chicago L train, uh, the authorities of the Chicago L train. And if an employee of the CTA, a person in authority came up to me and said, "Sir, you can't be eating on this train," then what would I say? Because I was imagining this playing out while I was eating. I would say, "Oh, thank you. I wasn't sure." Now, the fact is that I probably had seen a few weeks before that like a sign at some point posted saying no eating, and I was um, conveniently forgetting that fact. I was bifurcating, if you will, my mind for the purpose of ignoring what I know to be a pretty common rule. And I ask myself how often we do this. If I'm not being clear, let me try and put all this another way. It's normal to on public transportation that you don't cause a mess. Everybody kind of knows that. Um, Another normal rule along with that is that you don't eat. It's a vehicle in motion. You don't want to drop something. Also, the fact that people don't clean up after themselves and leave trash, that's another reason why I think eating is forbidden. Now, if people did clean up after themselves and didn't drop things as much, perhaps it wouldn't be a rule that you're not supposed to eat on public transportation. But anyway, it is a rule. Um, but the point is that the point is that I would wait until someone to come up to me and say, "Sir, you're not supposed to do that," before I refrain from doing it. And so I want that to happen. So I don't trust the authority of a sign. Um, and this is a really important lesson and a really important theme, I believe, and it's worth making a video over it because how often do we not trust or follow signs or signs. Think about the deeper meaning of signs in our life, signs of anything that's going wrong. um, Before we change. I wish I was more eloquent than I believe I am, but I'm going to pause it for a second. I think I'm back on track. So basically, I wait for someone in authority to come and tell me what I should and shouldn't do. I don't take the initiative to make the responsible decision. How often do we do that in life? How often, ask yourself if this is something that you do. Do you wait for someone to tell you what the right thing to do is? If someone came up to me and said, "Sir, you can't be doing that," at that point, and from then on, I would, as long as I use the Chicago transportation system, I would not eat. I wouldn't feel that it would be honest or of any integrity to eat because someone has already told me, they've gone out of their way to tell me, I've been found out, I've been spotted, that I'm not supposed to be eating. So I can't believe this is such a long video, 9 minutes and 37, 38, 39 seconds. So I'm going to just plow through this video, and it's long, and I'm sorry if that's irritating, and if you don't want to watch it, then feel free to turn it off. I understand. So what I'm saying is that I wish I could put a finer point to it, but deep breath. I apologize for not coming to a solid conclusion, not having finer points on my videos, but I'm going to try to complete my point here. Um, I think that it's a very valuable lesson in life, and I think that I would be better served if I were to take more initiative, more initiative in my life, more responsibility over the actions that I take in my life. And I see that my waiting for someone to tell me what to do when I already know what the right thing to do is very juvenile. And it's been most of my life that I've not been willing to admit that fact. And this might be a very small thing, a very small cranny or nook in the great vault of bad behavior, but it is an important one. And I see it as a, a maturity to recognize these sorts of things, and this one in particular. So I'm sorry, I don't make the best quality videos. I haven't either. Don't think that I've changed on this particular topic, but I do believe that in being someone with integrity, um, you know what? On the back of my mind, I'm thinking that there's other sides to this. It's a reality that we can't follow every single rule that man has made, that other people have made for us. Actually, I was just having a discussion with a friend, and we discussed how um, successful people often break the rules. They just know how to schmooze and get away with it. So I don't think that God put us on this earth to follow all of man's laws. I think if you any job that you're working, if you were to try to follow every rule and act appropriately by the employee handbook to a T, I think it would be actually impossible to do anything positive or to be productive in any way, to forward anything, to advance anything. And so that's the other side of the coin. And I think the fact that I did eat everything and I cleaned up after myself and there was virtually no crumbs, I don't think I left any crumbs really, means that I didn't, I followed the spirit of responsibility. But I had a lot of fear that someone would come up and say, "You're not supposed to do that," at which point I would say, "Okay, I didn't know that. Sorry, I won't do it again." And I'd probably feel really bad about it, but I wouldn't do it again. And I'm waiting for that person to say that. There's rules, human rules. There's a lot to be said about this, and it's taken me 13 minutes to say it. So, as you can tell, that's the case. So, hope you've gotten something out of this. Have a good day.